Welcome to another episode of Tonight's Watch. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And if this is your first time checking us out, what we do is every Sunday night we check out the just current episode of amazingness that is Game of Thrones. We give you a quick couple minutes spoiler-free synopsis and then dive into the full spoiler review of it. So, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
You can't even really talk about this show without spoiling shit because you want to just regurgitate all the amazing shit that happens. But spoiler free, it might be the finest episode of television I think I've seen.
It's up there.
I don't even really want to go into any more detail than that, but it is fucking astounding, and it is.
If you're listening to this for some godforsaken reason before you watch it, stop and go watch it before you get on Twitter, Facebook, talk to anyone at work.
Talk to any of your family.
Go outside of your home.
Just lock yourself in a room with your laptop and then watch the goddamn show. Yeah, what's crazy too is it met and surpassed the hype that I had been building for myself for this entire season. Like 2 months worth of just straight up hype.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it really is.
Most of the time when you even just build up for a movie like that, you can get disappointed. But when you spend an entire season of a show building up for one moment and it surpasses, yeah, that's rare. And
on that point, I think we're going to dive into spoilers. So you have been warned. Please, for the love of God, have watched this fucking just amazing episode. Episode opens up. They go right back to Tyrion and Khaleesi and Meereen with some of the best Tyrion dialogue of the entire season.
Not even just that. Facial expressions, voice tone, everything.
This is going to be a reoccurring theme. This, to me, is the episode of facial expressions.
Yes.
Every fucking person was on point the entire time, and it was just absolute gold.
It was like mom came home and son hadn't finished his chores. Like, it was...
I also really, really appreciate them not doing the subplot they very easily could have, where her and Tyrion got on bad terms because of what she came back to. She was just like, shit's going down, let's fix it. She wasn't mad at Tyrion like she could have been.
She wasn't mad because, like they say at the end of the episode, it's more or less what she expected to come back to. So it was...
Yeah. Khaleesi goes full-blown Khaleesi mode. She's like, we're gonna go fucking burn everyone to death.
We're gonna crucify the masters. We're gonna burn their cities.
And then Tyrion has like the really, really cool little exchange where he's talking about the Kingslayer is his brother, Kingslaying her dad, where he's basically like, you probably haven't heard exactly what happened, but I have from the source. It was fucking terrible, and you are dangerously getting close to that same path. Yeah, you have some good intentions, but...
And she said that she's not her father or something like that, and he said, no, but you're talking about burning cities, there's not much of a difference.
I would watch an entire show that was just them talking to each other, and nothing else had to happen, and it would still be like an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So Tyrion... They kind of come to an impasse between the two by what occurs next, because it cuts to them outside doing a parlay with the master dudes that Tyrion had talked to in previous episodes. And then I was talking about facial expressions. Khaleesi's face is the entire episode is just gold. She has like the
she
master,
gave no fucks the entire episode.
She is the master class at the no fuck stare. Like, it's just amazing. I love all of her one-liners to the master dudes. They're talking shit. Which, first of all, why would you talk shit to the girl you know has dragons?
I think it's one of those things, just like in real life, news spreads about something, and you may not entirely believe it's true, but even if you do, it's still not what you imagine. Because that happens to her over and over again. Everybody knows that she's supposedly the mother of dragons. Some of these people have seen them.
The problem with it is, though, these are the masters. The reason this whole event is taking place is because she sacked their fucking city with the dragons.
Yeah.
Not your best battle plan.
Was Charizard there?
Yeah, because that was when all,
because there was a period where he was gone.
That is, I believe, before that, because I believe that's the first time you actually see the dragons do anything, because that's when she's like the episode ends while she sends the dragons after the guys after she reveals she understood them the whole time. I believe. I could be wrong, but yeah, not your best battle plan to me attacking Queen of the Dragons.
Yeah.
I like how they're talking shit, discussing like her surrender terms. One of the quotes I put down was, "We're here to discuss your surrender, not mine."
Yeah. Perhaps we were not clear.
And then my next note was Charizard's actually being nice. So listening to commands equals you are all fucked.
Yeah.
Because when Charizard comes in and he just chills and lets her climb on top of him and then starts the battle, there is no stopping her.
I love that everybody dove out of the fucking way of the dragon. Like, they literally dove for the ground.
I like how ever since Tyrion got to Meereen, every time shit goes down, he always has this look on his face like, what the fuck did I get myself into over here?
Here we go again.
The more fucking awesome quotes, your reign is over, my reign has just begun.
Yes.
You're just like, fuck yes, I love this show.
Dude, I also love the moment when she's on Charizard's back and she looks down and you just see the wall crumble and the other two dragons are digging their way out to come to her aid.
It was also a good demonstration of just how much fucking bigger Charizard is. He is like over 2 times the size of the dragons.
Yes.
Like, Charizard ain't dicking around.
If I remember correctly earlier, that was kind of his problem. Like, he knew he was bigger. He had no respect for anyone. Just like Charizard, that's how we gave him that name. So, yeah.
How fucking metal did those dragons look, dude?
Oh, dude.
That CGI was spotless.
The CGI was insane.
And you could tell they saved money for this episode.
They did. And that's impressive because it did not feel like they were saving money at any other point for the episode. But the other thing that you have to give props to also is we have seen images on the internet of the dragons are basically a blue boxing glove on the end of a broomstick. So for everyone to react the way that they do to a broomstick on set.
Special effects on the ships getting fucked up, all fucking amazing.
Ship. I think they really only targeted one, didn't they?
There was so much going down. There could have been more. I don't even know. I'm gonna be watching this episode at least one time.
I love
extra.
I love Tyrion's reaction to. I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but he basically, when everyone just kind of threw down their arms. And he was like, when they basically, he realizes they were taking the Armada. He was just like, oh, good, your Armada will be nice. Our queen does love ships.
One of my favorite quotes, too, was kind of the way that I think Tyrion and Khaleesi kind of came to an agreement is they say, we're going to kill one of you so the others can send a message. And then he's walking up. And
dude, Grey Worm, his badass walk up.
Oh,
too.
he really was. But
he is intimidating. He's got his hands behind his back, and he's intimidating.
I love this quote from Tyrion, even just outside the confines of Game of Thrones. But I thought it was a great quote. It always seems abstract, doesn't it? Other people dying. That was a great fucking line.
Yeah, it was.
And then, dude, that Grey Worm thing was so boss.
You blink, you miss it, dude.
So, yeah, the shot of the guy that they were just like, fuck this guy, kill him, and then he kneels, and then that fucking Assassin's Creed slash he does was so awesome.
It's that blink and you miss it.
So
seriously, it was amazing.
Fucking amazing. That was all my notes though for this portion at the beginning. Anything else you wanted to add with it?
No, not really. I just love how basically they just defeated an entire armada by only destroying really only 1 or 2 ships. It was just awesome.
And the trebuchet is your favorite part, Rod.
I know, right? She has trebuchets built into ships.
The dragons are meaningless. She has trebuchets. She's gonna fucking.
I told you, Jeff.
Everybody.
I've seen dragons before. Trebuchets on ships? What the fuck?
I'm gonna get you like a trebuchet T-shirt. I'm gonna get that personally made just for you. From there, they go to a parlay. Another parlay. I think that was actually the segue, basically, from the writing team was we're gonna segue from this parlay to the parlay between the Battle of the Bastards.
Another great set of dialogue. This whole scene.
I had kind of a side note. I had noticed throughout the season, they changed Jon Snow's hair. Yeah. I didn't realize it was an exact callback to Ned, though, because Sean Bean actually had his hair drawn back when he was on the show.
Was he?
It was one of those things where I should have noticed it immediately, like we talked about the Sansa stuff, but yeah, I noticed it specifically here because he's wearing the coat that similar to Sean Bean always wore.
Yeah.
Really, really, really cool. How Snow is pretty much in the Sean Bean role, while Sansa is now in the Catelyn
Does he have
Stark
basically
role.
the same facial hair at this point too?
Probably, yeah. More fucking incredible facial expressions. Lyanna Mormont's face. Did you see her in the back on the horse? She was like as scary, if not scarier than fucking Khaleesi.
Dude, it's like, you know what? Let her parlay, and this battle's already over.
Dude, we wouldn't have a fucking show like that person on Twitter said if Lyanna was in charge.
Yeah, it would have been over 2 seasons ago. She had 3 dragons.
More brilliant acting.
Sansa's expressions were pretty good in this too, because you can tell she's just over it. Like, one way or another, it doesn't matter how the battle goes, how the parlay goes. She's just over it.
Ramsay's facial expressions are fantastic too. He that dude,
One haughty son of a bitch.
I swear to God, that Ramsay actor, he can make you want to punch him in the square in the middle fucking face more than any actor I think I've ever seen.
I know.
He does it even better than the Joffrey kid.
He really does.
It's crazy.
He's so good at being sadistic, at seeming very sadistic. But I love when Jon Snow challenged him to the one-on-one fight.
I have the quote if you wanted me to say it.
Yes, go ahead, because you have it written down.
Yeah. Snow challenges him to a one-on-one. It's like, why don't we do it that way? And then Ramsay's just like, I know my army will beat your army for sure, so fuck you, pretty much. And then,
the thing that I loved about his dialogue there, though, is just he talked about the stories of how damn good of a swordsman he is.
Oh yeah,
and just basically admitted that
I would lose.
Yeah,
so
he would lose, but he knows his army will win because he's got the numbers.
And then the great fucking Snow line is, "Will your men want to fight for you when they hear you wouldn't fight for them?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I love you, Jon Snow."
Yes.
So
and
awesome.
Your eyes immediately cut to the people standing behind Ramsay just to see their reaction.
The metal Sansa line too is when they're when she leaves. I think Snow and Ramsay still have an exchange, but Ramsay starts to talk about pretty much, I'll let your brother live if you just surrender all of your shit. And then Sansa, I think her only reply is, "You're going to die tomorrow, Lord Bolton. Sleep well." It's like, I love the show. It's so awesome. Did you have anything else to add with the parlay at the very beginning of the battle?
No, not really. I just wanted to be sure we talked about the Jon Snow and Ramsay lines.
So good.
So good.
So fucking good. Let's see. They transition from the parlay to Snow, Sansa, Davos, and Tormund setting up the battle strategy. And I fucking love how Tormund has no idea what they're talking about. Like, Jon Snow goes into all of these all these jargon terms about, like, our flank's gonna be fine. We have the trenches built. We're gonna blah 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 blah. And then Tormund's just like, what?
And then he was like, they can't break the middle. No pincer. And then he just stares at it, and him and Davos just kind of look at each other and like, he can't come at us from the side.
Like, good.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about the show, because it really basically is politics the show, or dialogue the show, because without the dialogue that they have and how good it is, there is no show, more or less. There's more dialogue than anything else, and it's all riveting. It's amazing they can do that time and time and time again. But then to take something as heavy as you already know it's going to be, because the title's called Battle of the Bastards, you already know how batshit crazy this is probably going to be, how heavy all the dialogue is. They still find little tiny slivers of comedy to, like, just hammer in somewhere, like with Tormund not understanding what they're talking about.
Someone please send the script, via email to all of Warner Brothers portraying the DC shit, because it really helps.
Yeah, it's amazing that they're able to do the dialogue as good as they are, number one, but to also be able to mix it up and have something as brilliant as Tormund not knowing what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, they have the really, really good exchange where Sansa is talking to Snow and trying to tell him, you do not know who you're dealing with, I do. And then, he has the good point, too, where it's just like, what do you want me to do? They're almost in like a no-win scenario.
Yeah. Now,
here's my question. At this point, why doesn't Sansa tell him that she has at least tried to get the Night's Vale guys?
The thing that bothered me more than anything was when she first brought that up, I'm like, why the fuck didn't you say anything in the meeting then? Was my reaction.
Well,
she waited till the meeting was over.
You get it back then because she is so rightfully so pissed off at Littlefinger, she wants nothing to do with him. But she at this point, she's already sent off the Raven for him to help.
Right.
So just fucking tell Snow.
I know.
I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand that
They
either.
might explain it later, but I would have liked an explanation then. But that's
maybe she didn't want him to feel like she went behind his back or something. She's already not telling everything anyway.
Maybe she didn't get confirmation yet that he was.
She didn't know if he was coming.
She didn't want to basically give him, false reinforcements,
or didn't want him to bank on it.
I don't know. I thought they could have given me a line or two. Within the episode, but that is like the minor nitpick that is pretty much the only thing wrong, even a little bit of this entire episode.
Because at this point, isn't she arguing like we should have waited a few more days? Because basically she was waiting for the reply.
Yeah, and then when Snow says, we're going to do it with the men we have, she should have probably. I might have like 2,000 dudes on the way. Maybe, I don't know. That was a little awkward thing for me, but it didn't like ruin the episode for me or anything.
Yeah, it almost felt kind of like they didn't know how to work it in or something. But like you said, that of all the things we can complain about in this episode and how horribly this episode could have gone, that's a pretty minor thing.
From there, they go over to one of my favorite scenes from the episode, which is Davos talking to Tormund. There's more Tormund going like he reminded me of Drax and Guardians.
Yeah, pretty much.
All of just like everyone using metaphors that just goes literally over his head.
You've seen these demons?
It's a figure of speaking. He just stares at him.
He didn't know what that meant either. Yeah.
And
Tormund.
I almost missed a note. Right from there, they actually go to Jon Snow going to Melisandre, where he goes to talk to her about, if I die, don't resurrect me. They don't really go into much detail as to exactly why he doesn't. I mean, maybe it just fucking sucks the process, They don't really allude to why. Did you get any?
Not really. I don't know if it's...
Maybe it's a thing where it's like, if he dies in this situation, he has failed his family and where he doesn't deserve it again.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, it's an honor thing.
You just have to kind of read between the lines on it.
Yeah. This is his last act. If he dies, he wants this to be his last act. And
then Melisandre starts telling him, the Lord of Light commands me, you don't command me, type of thing. Then I liked how Snow was like, why do you keep resurrecting me? She's like, I don't know. It worked the first time. Anything else to add with the Snow and Melisandre thing?
No.
That's when they actually show Davos while he's doing his walkabout before the battle because he can't sleep.
Fucking show.
He finds the carving he gave to the... What's her name?
I don't know.
The princess? Yeah, Stannis' daughter. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, fuck.
So... Not only did he find that, but did you notice in that shot when he's standing kind of off to the right, you see what was the pyre, and then the sunset is that eerie orange fiery glow, and it's right over the pyre.
Beautiful fucking... The directing and the cinematography.
Beautifully tragic.
The directing and the cinematography, we're going to go into this in more detail later, it was fucking magical, this episode. It was just fantastic. Let's see. From there, they go back to Tyrion and Khaleesi, and one of the other best scenes from the season to me, which was them talking with the Greyjoys, because there were some great one-liners back and forth about this. I like how Tyrion is talking shit to Theon.
Yes.
One of his quotes was like, "Everyone who makes a joke about a dwarf's height thinks he's the only person ever to make a joke about a dwarf's height."
You all make like the same 5 jokes.
And how also one of my quickly becoming one of my favorite characters is Yara.
Yes.
I like how similar to Khaleesi, and you can tell they hit it off immediately because they are so similar. Because Yara is talking to the queen with 3 gigantic fucking dragons who she knows just, resacked the city for them, and is talking like she's talking to her brother almost. Like
pretty much.
She could not give less of a fuck, and that's what really helps her in her conversation with Khaleesi, is because Khaleesi really finds common ground.
Very true to the nature of their people, because even the showrunners have described them as a Viking-like people, this is the way you would expect her to react to anybody, to talk to anybody. No, it doesn't matter who they are or what they have, they're still not better than you because you're that fucking Viking person,
One of the other really great quotes that I made note of. They tell Khaleesi their uncle is coming, and he will give her the same deal, but it's going to come at the price of marriage. And then Khaleesi says to Yara, "And I imagine your offer is free of any marriage demands." And then Yara just says, "I never demand, but I'm up for anything, really."
I loved that too.
That was great setup from the stuff they showed in the previous episode.
Right.
Did you have anything? And then the scene concludes. The Greyjoys now have an agreement with Khaleesi. They will quit being the barbaric Viking race that you were just talking about, in order to get their kingdom back. Yeah. So, did you have anything else to add with that portion?
Just how adorable was it when she looks back at Tyrion and he's just like gesturing for her to shake her hand, to lock arms or whatever they call it.
I love this show.
I know. It was awesome.
And my next note was, "Here we go," because that's when the shit. Yeah, they had a little.
Politics. The show has now concluded.
They had a little, button ending on the Khaleesi portion. You're just like, oh, shit's about to hit the fan. How fucking ominous were the flayed man burning symbols they had lining the battlefield? Right. It was eerie.
Yeah. Again, what we've talked about before, back in those days, it was all about putting on a show also before the battle to try to, strike fear or doubt or anything you can to the opposite side. What's the best way to do that if you're him? Flay someone upside down and light them on fire.
Fucking Boltons, man.
I know. It makes you wonder who the fuck those bastards were, too. If they just grabbed random people out of the street or what.
And then, goddamn Ramsay walks out riding out on his horse. And you know who he has with him. Yeah. And you're just like, this is not going to end well.
They keep you a little bit in suspense, too, because they won't show him.
But So
they take so long, you're just like, what the fuck has he done to him?
Yeah, that's true. If he just walks out like fucking flayed like that.
Yeah. Or just like arm missing or something. Like they take so long and they do everything they can to keep you from being able to see him. You just kind of sit there for a little bit like, what has he done to him? Then when he finally steps out, you're just like, oh, God, thank you. Fuck you, Game of Thrones. It was, yeah.
So, fucking, we talked about this with Rickon. There had to be some final thing tied in with Ramsay with him.
Yes.
And they did even worse than I thought they would, because it is so fucking fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is.
It is so fucked up. If you're with us at this point, hopefully you've watched the show, because when they have him run from the arrows and then Ramsay's expression the whole time.
This is dark and fucked up, but I honestly laughed after the first arrow because it was almost comical, because Ramsay just like, bother. Like he shrugged and just like, and he just had this smile on his face. And
he was almost acting like, people, they shoot the plate. Yeah, exactly. That was almost his reaction to it.
Yeah, like he missed the skeet. Yeah.
And then when frickin' Rickon is running, man, and you see Snow, and he's on horseback, and he gets within, 15 feet, and then that last one gets him.
Yeah. The one that did not show him knock. They showed him knock all the other ones, and then they give you just a little bit of glimmer of hope, which I already knew that they wouldn't, because Rickon hasn't been in the show for so damn long.
We talked about it.
We talked about how he's fucked.
We talked about the problem with Rickon is it was too late in the game for him to actually be developed into a character. The best use of his character for writing purposes is for him to be motivation for the more important characters, which they did beautifully.
They did beautifully, yes.
But if I was Rickon, I know he's a kid. He's another one of the kids that looks like 20 now. You notice that? He's like taller than fucking Ramsay almost. Yeah. But it's just like, all you had to do to make it
Bob and weave.
Does the word serpentine not exist in Game of Thrones? It's like literally, he could have walked.
Yeah.
And it's like, every few seconds, bob and weave, and you're good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're nitpicking again, because it was incredibly dramatic, which shows how good it was directed, because on paper, that could have been incredibly corny.
Yes.
And the director and the cinematographer did a beautiful fucking job. Kit Harington...
I almost feel like that's one of those things that the director of photography is just like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, and they made it so...
yeah.
Like, just right in the gut once he gets shot. Because it's like, in typical Game of Thrones standards, they could have had him just get shot in the back.
Yes.
But it's a brutal one that you see pierce him, and then he lands sideways to accentuate it.
And I knew they wouldn't do it, but when he was teasing the knife, they could have had him slit his throat there too.
Yeah,
right in front of everyone.
It was very it was grotesquely fitting for the character of Ramsay.
Yes,
because his whole thing,
and we've seen him hunt people before.
His whole thing,
a couple seasons ago,
he does literal games with people's lives, and he does mind games, and he did both in that one moment. And he got exactly what he wanted because Snow does exactly what he wanted that Sansa warned him about. He goes in full berserker rage mode and almost gets himself killed. He should have gotten himself killed. And you want to talk about great fucking directing and cinematography? That shot where Snow is out in the middle of the field after his horse has been shot.
Oh, Geoff.
What?
Oh, Geoff. Okay, so we were talking about the DP, and I wanted to look up who it is. Fucking DPs and their names. Fabian, I'm going to assume. Wagner. He's done the Victor Frankenstein movie that had Harry Potter in it and Professor Xavier. Game of Thrones, several episodes. He's the Justice League DP, the Justice League movie DP.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. That's going to be... if nothing else, it's going to have some cool shots.
Yeah, at least they have that going for it now.
Yes.
But you want to talk about good fucking directing cinematography. That eerie shot of Snow after his horse has been he's been dismounted and he's just running and then he stops. I fucking love the scene where he throws his sword's sheath on the ground where he's just like, I'm not making out of this, but fuck it.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what that said. That shot from behind was just fuck it.
The score, every time it goes quiet in certain moments of this episode, was beautifully done. And then that shot of the two armies converging all around him was one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in movies or TV ever. It was fucking awesome.
It was brutal.
It was...
they literally collided head on. People were thrown from their horses.
And the sound editing, everything, all the sound goes from like that beautiful score to just chaos.
The sound goes straight to your stomach, dude.
And the fucking... we usually take notes as we're watching the episode. This was the point in the episode where I didn't touch my phone. I couldn't take my eyes off of the screen because it was just so fucking breathtakingly horrible. But it was like, this was the equivalent to me, Saving Private Ryan for World War II stuff. Really, hit home how tragically horrible it was that in previous movies and works of fiction and stuff like that had kind of almost glamorized it. Yeah. This was, to me, the Saving Private Ryan effect for medieval fantasy or just straight up like dark fantasy. Like, it shows you just how fucking... Like, I've never been more thankful that I didn't fucking live in that time than I was while watching this show tonight.
Because once you're called for your banner, you have to go.
That 300 shot where it's a continuous shot of Snow taking out dudes was fucking amazing.
Dude, when there was that one guy running up on him and then just the horse just plows over him, doesn't even stop, no one swings their sword.
The wicked shot too was every time you hear the arrows loosed and everyone on the battlefield reacts. Like, there's this one really cool shot where it's following Snow and he turns his back towards the arrows and then just hunches over because there's nothing else you can do. Right. And then all the arrows almost make a fucking Snow outline. You're just like, Jesus, this is terrible. This is fucking terrifying. I don't know who was in charge of monitoring where they placed the bodies, but it was genius because it literally accumulated like in real time. It felt like while Snow was running, you see people dropping all over him. By the time they really start having like numbers that have been lost, it is just crazy. You can't move anywhere, and there's just mounds and mounds, like 15 feet tall, of just bodies
climbing up on top of bodies like it's high ground.
And it was actually a decent like a neat callback to the Snow and Ramsay conversation about like how are your men going to fight for you, because Davos has their archers say you're just going to hit our guys. Ramsay gives no fucks. He lays them all out because he has the number advantage, just because Ramsay doesn't care. Ramsay views it as a game.
And while I've got it in my head though, I know it happens a little bit later in the fight, but I love Davos's line of, we might as well be taking shits back here. And then he gets off his horse, draws his sword, and everyone just charges with him.
It's a cool callback to what he told Tormund too.
Yes.
He's like, I just walk around until
I'm far enough away, no one can hear me shit my guts out.
Yeah.
And then Tormund told him
Happy
shitting.
The shot of Snow getting knocked over and having to crawl upwards
After being trampled like Black Friday at the mall.
While he's suffocating to death, just because of the raw amount of corpses and people dying that are around him.
And not only that phalanx is moving in. There's literally nowhere to go. They're getting squeezed tighter and tighter until you can't get away from the spears. So when you're in the middle of it, you're squeezed shoulder to shoulder so tight, he could barely dig his way up to the top of it.
And they have one scene too where he's almost having to fight a dude at the end of it too, because people are it's fight or flight, like over the course of 5,000 people on a battlefield, just going just everyone's so raw. And if anyone has ever said Kit Harington can't act, watch this fucking episode, because that scene alone, he was it's fantastic.
Like he's actually there and it's happening. Like it was crazy just how everybody is reacting to everything on the screen.
Yeah, the sound editing, while you hear the theme song for Game of Thrones kind of in the background while you're also hearing him trying to gasp for air, was so affecting. Like I don't think I breathed that whole time either, because you're just like. This has been another one I wish I had myself on camera for. My whole time it was just like this. I was like, cover my mouth. Probably some involuntary crying at some point. It was just terrible.
Yeah. Also, the Hollywood trope of the villain just taking their sweet time to do something, and then the hero uses that to their advantage and kill them. I've never been happier to see that in my life, because when that guy is just beating the shit out of Tormund instead of just straight up stabbing him like he should have, I was just like, oh, come on, don't do it. I just get Game of Thrones any second now. I'm expecting him to just go ahead and stab Tormund and be done with it, but instead he just keeps going, and then because of what happens next, Tormund ends up getting the better of him.
I was so worried about Tormund in this episode, especially after especially if they had 2 or 3 really good moments of him being funny. You're just like, oh no, Tormund, I don't want to, don't leave me, buddy.
Why are they suddenly making you even more likable in the Battle of the Bastards?
And he just got cast in Fast 8. There's like all these things in the back.
He's doing like Orbitz commercials or something as Tormund in a suit.
Because fuck it, he's fucking Tormund. If I had that beard, you couldn't make me shave it either. The dude's got the best beard of all time.
I was gonna say, I think Game of Thrones does a thing where it was like Kit Harington. Remember, it was a big fucking deal after he was killed at the end of the other season, and then they were seen in public with short hair. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's actually dead!" Because there's a thing that they keep the beard and the hair and everything going season to season.
Yeah, at that point. Which was crazy, too, because you and I on this podcast had predicted a lot of what happened, but it was still breathtakingly intense.
Yeah.
Because it was done so well, it doesn't fucking matter that you guess anything. It was just so well done. At that point, Sansa comes in and saves the day, which is another brilliant use of the female leads, because at this point, Snow has gotten all of them fucking killed pretty much, because he charges. You don't really, he watched his brother die right in front of him, but it was a bad battle strategy,
right?
Because he throws exactly what Sansa told him he'd do. Do not do what Ramsay wants you to do, and he did exactly. Technically, Snow should have gotten them all killed.
Yeah.
Sansa comes in with Littlefinger, saves the day. Littlefinger always on top.
Yeah.
In every way imaginable throughout all the seasons.
He's in this entire episode for like half a second as the camera pans by, but the look on his face was, we fucking won Winterfell, right? And his soldiers haven't even got into the fight yet. They're running in. I say his soldiers because they might as well be. And
so he's technically the Lord of the Vale, right? Because
through the kid. And now, since they have, we're talking ahead a little bit, since they've eliminated the Bolton family, he'll probably take over as, how the Boltons used to be like the second in command to the Starks of Winterfell. Now Littlefinger will probably take over as like the second in command because of the Vale, he saved all their asses. So right. Littlefinger gets what he wants every fucking chance imaginable. Yep.
The shot after the Night's Vale army saves the day of Snow in like center frame with Tormund on the bottom left and 1-1 the Giant on the top right. You just see like your boys all together. It was an awesome scene.
Yeah, it was
really, really like, fucking cool.
I love the shot of the Knights of the Vale running into the phalanx and then running along the phalanx, just mowing everyone over.
It was even more mind-blowing. It's like the showrunners say they've never really shown siege warfare like this, and we've been waiting 6 seasons for something like this, and it was still, mind-blowingly good. 6 seasons of hype, and just, wanting this so bad, and it even exceeds your expectations. More fucking awesome facial expressions is when Snow gets out of the fray and is just staring down Ramsay.
Yes.
You're like, you believe he just killed his brother in real life. He was that good.
Yeah, it was. And then to see him covered in all the muck and the blood and the gore, and the blade is black. It's not even shiny at this point. It's completely black from all the mud and everything.
And he does a really, really great job, similar to they do in Daredevil when they're having these fight scenes. He genuinely looked like he could, like every step could be his last because he would pass out from exhaustion because he looked so tired.
Yeah, it's just like the Daredevil hallway fight we always harken back to.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he looks like.
I want to watch this episode again, like right now.
I want to watch this again and then Daredevil.
Right. Yeah, and then one of my other notes was is a little bit we already talked about with like Sansa. Is they show her looking out over the battlefield at all the people that have just died,
looking a lot like her mom.
And at that point, when she first arrives, she has this kind of assured look on her face. She doesn't really look overly concerned, even though she doesn't know that, she kind of already guessed Rickon wouldn't made it. At that point, when she first arrived, she doesn't even know if Snow's still alive.
Well, one thing I don't think that we've mentioned was before the battle, she told Jon that Rickon's not going to make it out of this.
Yeah, and then, Snow is doing the... I'm trying to save
this Jon Snow thing to do.
I gotta save my brother. Like, what would you want? What would you have me do otherwise? Because I was just about to say, like, it shows back to the female leads. All of the female leads in this show understand what they're all doing much better than the guys. Because yes, it's fucked up that she pretty much had to sacrifice her kid or her son, her brother, but like, what were the odds Rickon, win or lose, was going to make it anyway? Yeah. She was being pragmatic about it.
Yeah,
it just shows, like the same thing with Khaleesi and Yara too. They're so pragmatic about everything they're doing that it, runs polar opposite to the guys. They're dead. Ned got killed because he was trying to do the right thing. Jon got killed. He's trying to do the right thing. Jon let his emotions get the best of him. He almost got their entire army and claimed Winterfell, killed in
which, we always talk about the final episode being the fallout. I cannot wait to see how Jon Snow reacts to that aspect. As they're going to bring that up. Because they were dead. Until the Knights of the Vale showed up, they were dead.
And at that point, he's going to, connect the dots like, oh, you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Because obviously she would have had to, for him to have had time to move the whole army.
Why didn't you tell me? I would have waited.
Yeah, maybe our nitpick in this episode is they were intentionally saving it for a big, because there's going to be some heavy dialogue for that. Like, yeah, I agree with you. The battle transitions, 1-1, Tormund and Snow are charging Winterfell. Fucking Ramsay takes off like a bitch, of course. and then when he walks in and they lock the gate, and then he actually...
My brain went right back to Castle Black.
when he locks the gate, and then, he's like, their army's fucked, and then the other Bolton guy's like, our army's fucked. And he's just like, well, we have Winterfell. And you know what clicked in my brain? It's like, you might have Winterfell, but we have a giant, like the Avengers thing.
Right.
Because you just see a fucking fist start pounding on the door, on the gate.
Yeah.
The fucking Winterfell gate, which is massive, is just getting manhandled. And then you see fucking 1-1's hand bust through. That shot of the spear going through his hand, you feel that?
Oh, God.
When he just rips upward. You feel that one. I'm going to film that one next week.
Yeah, it's awful. Oh, God,
so
dude.
Fucking 1-1, like the best siege weapon of all time. He breaks down the gate and allows Snow, Tormund, and some of the other guys to break in. They start mowing down Ramsay's dudes, but poor 1-1, I think by the end of this battle, has like 3,000 arrows all over him.
Yeah. Dude, to see him fall to his knees was just like, holy shit.
After we had just seen him last season, take on how many White Walkers, like it is not easy to take him down. And then
this is the episode that he meant it when he said snow.
And they have that you knew it was going to go terrible when they have that shot between Snow and 1-1. They slow it down for a second. They have like a touching moment where he's just like, "Oh my god, thank you for like all you've done to help me. Win or lose, like and then arrow to the eye, just straight up fucking
Ramsay's last fucking nail in his own coffin, really. Because at that point, you as the audience already hate him. But like when that happened, my exact response was just like, fuck you, Ramsay. Just fuck you.
Fucking Ramsay. Dude.
Ramsay Snow. Bitch. Yeah.
More great Kit Harington acting is after, first of all, the exchange. Fucking Ramsay, dude, you hate him so much, but you can't help but you and I both laughed when he has that whole thing. He's surrounded by like 30 dudes, Tormund and Snow. And he's just like, that whole idea about a one-on-one fight, that's like a great idea. Now let's do it.
I've reconsidered.
So fucking good. So it's like, I hate you for making me laugh right now, Ramsay Snow.
And then when he says that, the look on Jon Snow's face is, you want a one-on-one fight? All right, I'll give you a fucking one-on-one fight.
I like how all of his backup, including Tormund, is like, what do we do? They're looking back at each other like, what do we do? And they look over at Snow. Fucking Kit Harington's face as he is walking after he's gotten
menacing, dude.
He has this walk where you'd be afraid if you were a fucking giant. Like, every step is just like, I'm going to tear your fucking face apart as he grabs, it's real. He throws his sword down and grabs his shield. You're just like, dude, yes. And then he's doing his menacing walk every step's like hardcore fucking Terminator style almost. Yeah. He only raises the shield when he shoots, so he blocks it and you go right back to, fucking Terminator mode.
Yeah. Which, is great for the camera. But also, if you think about it, if he just keeps the shield up, what's Ramsay going to do? He's going to lower his bow, right? And shoot you in the leg or whatever. He's going for the biggest target. He can shoot the fastest, which is always your chest.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And when fucking Snow, dude, takes that shield to the fucking throat, I was like,
my
yes!
God.
I could have done a happy dance right there just in my apartment.
And then he just keeps going.
When he punches him for what, a good like 40 seconds?
Something like that.
And it is like the most satisfying 40 seconds of all television history.
And more Game of Thrones sound effects, but for the first time I did not fucking squirm.
You're just like, yes. When he stops, I yelled at my laptop, keep going.
I know.
Because fucking Ramsay in the back of your mind, you're just like, he's always got some backup plan because that's always been his character.
I kept waiting for a dagger or something, to be honest. We know he's got one. He flashed it at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah. Oh, the special effects on his face.
Oh man,
were brutal, and I loved every.
It wasn't even
second
recognizable.
He really wasn't. So Snow is beating the ever-living shit out of him.
And I think it's important to note also that not only did a bunch of the soldiers that followed him witness how ferocious he could be, even in the one-on-one thing against Ramsay, but a lot of the wildlings did. And we've already established before that a lot of the wildlings, they might have respect for him, but they don't really see him as a fighter. They don't really see him as anything else. They just have respect for him as he let them through the gate.
Outside of Tormund and 1-1.
Because
they had seen him firsthand.
Yeah. So now they've all seen what he's like during battle. They've seen his leadership skills, unfortunately. But they saw his ability to unite, just like the dude that got burned alive that he put out of his misery. Mm-hmm. They saw how ferocious that he can be, especially one-on-one.
He was fighting like a wildling.
He was basically a wildling. Yeah. So everyone that followed him of note saw it.
Yeah. So Snow is beating the ever-loving shit out of Ramsay.
And by the way, the fact that Sansa was there in that shot, that means that was going on for a fucking long time.
Yeah,
because she was well outside the battlefield to begin with.
Yeah, Snow only stops when he sees Sansa watching him do it, and then it kind of clicks like the showrunners talk about in the after. Which I encourage people, if you have access to it, watch the showrunner after show type thing, because they do have some like really really cool insight. Of, like,
They're short too.
Yeah, they're only like 5-6 minutes long. They have really cool insight as to like what they were thinking, what they changed. It's a good thing.
I'm glad I watched this one because honestly, the scene is awesome as it was. Like you shouting at your laptop, "Keep going." That's kind of the way I was feeling. It did not click for me that he stopped because this was Sansa's job. Like she deserved the honor of killing this bastard. I guess no pun intended. To me, he stopped just because he was Snow. Was the only thought that I had. But so I was glad I watched it because they explained that when he sees Sansa, the reason he stops is because she's been through it worse than he has. So
yeah, he had. She says like you've known him for what, like 10 minutes, because that was the first time he'd ever even met him, was at the parlay. But while we're talking about the showrunners, I liked how they talked about originally in the first draft, all of this episode took place outside of Winterfell, and they decided to change the ending
since it's the battle for Winterfell.
Yeah, they thought it was, and which was fucking great. He only there's another really great bit of acting by Kit Harington when his like last kind of half punch was really convincing, where he's just like, you can kind of tell
this one's for me.
He really doesn't want to keep going. He just has to force himself to stop.
Yeah.
And then one of the great scenes out of all of the seasons is the Bolton banners all in a pile on the ground, and then you see the one Stark banner.
You get the shot where you see like what you're assuming is the last one to fall into the pile, and then you get to see all of the Stark banners unfurl. How long has it been since we've seen those Stark banners, dude? There hasn't been a House Stark in a while.
Yeah,
several seasons.
When did Theon take it over? Like season 2?
2 or 3.
Yeah, like it's been a long time.
We haven't seen Stark banners in a long ass time, and it felt so. You saw me. You were sitting right here. Since you're actually here today, you're not on Skype. You saw as soon as that one fell, I raised both my arms.
It was like your team won the Super Bowl.
Like, yes, and then I put my arms down, and then you see the Stark ones unfurl. I was like, yes, I did it again.
Yeah, it was gold. And then let's talk about the ending now, Ron.
All right,
you talk about one of the greatest payoffs ever, period, from anything.
So grotesquely satisfying.
Let's just okay. They show Ramsay unrecognizable, like you said. He has just been fucked up beyond repair.
Is this where I'll be staying now?
He is seriously. He needs to be the Joker.
I know, sooner
rather than later.
We've talked about that before off mic. They need to get him as the Joker,
like absolutely,
and something.
What's sad is our best Joker this year is probably going to be Ramsay. It's not going to be Jared Leto.
I know.
He is chained up inside a cell in Winterfell. Sansa just kind of walks up out of the shadows. One of the most amazing lines that I had to include was, "Your words will disappear. Your house will disappear. Your name will disappear. All memory of you will disappear." Her delivery on that was money.
Let's stop right here for a second. And just anyone that is listening, just make sure that everybody understands that back in this time, your name, your legacy, everything mattered. That was all you really had. Doesn't matter how much money you had, how many castles you had, how much land you had. Your name continuing, your lineage, your legacy, that is you. That is everything. So for her to tell him that all ends here and you're just going to be lost to the annals of history, like, that's a big fucking deal.
And it's especially brutal for him because he was so obsessed with getting his own title.
Exactly.
He killed his own dad to ensure his title.
He was so obsessed with becoming a Bolton because he was a Snow. He was a bastard son. He was a Snow. He had no name. He had no legacy. He had nothing until he got the name Bolton.
And then to ensure it, he killed his fucking dad by stabbing him face to face.
So now Sansa is telling him that is all, doesn't matter. That is all stopping here. It's being erased.
And more fucking great poetic justice, and then great callback to the name. He lost to the army. You know, Sansa obviously, saved the day, but who was leading the charge was the bastard.
Yes.
The bastard of Winterfell took him down. It's fucking brilliant. Like, the poetic justice alone, just from this, the rest of this show could be absolute dog shit, and I wouldn't care because this was such a great payoff.
I really love it. It's Battle of the Bastards, and I hope that title for this battle sticks throughout the show because this is something that in real life would make a ripple. Like, everybody would be talking about one bastard leading an army against another bastard at Winterfell. News of that would travel. So I hope that we hear the reference to, because they straight up call it the Red Wedding when they talk about it in the show.
And the Purple Wedding, I think they call it the Purple Wedding in the show too.
Yeah, so I really hope we hear Battle of the Bastard the next season or something, or next episode at least.
It'd be great.
But, it started out the two bastards face to face, and then it went to all-out warfare, but it ended once again the two bastards face to face. It was really Battle of the Bastards.
I want to watch this episode again right fucking now.
I know, I do too.
Really, really bad.
I really do too.
So, Sansa, after she has that exchange with Ramsay, then that fucking actor, man, that Ramsay actor's so good. Like, you're just like, he might have something.
We'll be seeing him again, not here, obviously, but we'll be seeing him somewhere. And, a lot of the Game of Thrones people, unfortunately, tend to get typecast, so we'll probably see him in this same role again.
I'm
somewhere.
cool with that.
I'm cool with that too.
Yeah. And we've talked about how would Ramsay die? How do they make that satisfying? It was so fucking obvious to use the hounds, and it never clicked for me once ever.
Yeah.
It was so...
They even made a point of it.
Yes. They even made a fucking point like 30 minutes before it happens.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 times while they're talking back and forth about the hounds, and you're just like...
She says all of his own dialogue back to him. Like, my hounds would never turn me. No, they wouldn't. And then you didn't feed them for 7 days. You said it yourself. Like, her line delivery.
She's amazing.
She delivers all those lines back to him about as sadistically as he delivered them the first time.
Let's just pause the podcast and let's go watch the episode again, and then we'll come back. Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Was that episode great the second time, Ron? The fucking sound effects. You're just talking about you enjoyed them when he's getting punched. You really fucking enjoy them.
Yeah.
And the cinematography and the directing of just what you're allowed to see. You see for a brief second, like, the fucking hound, like, rip his jaw off almost, and it just cuts away real quick, but you're just like, holy shit. And then the scene where he's bound to the chair, and you see, like, the arterial spray hit his hand.
Yeah, and it's just running off of his
Oh my god, it was so well shot. And then... I agree with the showrunner. One of the best shots I've ever had is Sansa walking away, and she walks away about 10 seconds while she's hearing all this, just like the viewer is, and then she cracks like a half smile right as she walks out of frame.
Let's talk about how just before that moment, though, she starts to walk away and turn away, and then she hesitates and turns back around and watches just a little bit longer. Now, to have her simply turn and walk away and do the badass thing with a smile is one thing. To have her hesitate and be like, no, you know what, just one more look, just for the memory. To turn back around and watch for a few seconds longer, Jesus Christ, they made a point that she has grown up now. Like, that's beyond even her mom and Lord Baelish.
A lot of Littlefinger, too.
Yeah.
While she's doing that, you just see it on her face.
Yeah.
She's got that smirk, that Littlefinger trademark smirk.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, all these Game of Thrones actors and their fucking badass walk. Because Sansa even now has
Sansa
one.
has a badass walk. You've seen Snow do it like 3 or 4 times this season.
Yeah.
It's all fantastic. My very last note about this episode was this director, this Miguel Sapochnik guy who did Hard Home in this one, and he's doing next week's too, which is probably gonna be fucking amazing too. He is something special for TV.
Yes, he is.
I didn't know. Did you ever see the movie Repo Man? Repo Men, I think was the name of it.
No, but I know what it is. I know the plot.
It was a solid movie, but you get this guy with TV and this type of genre specifically.
Was he the director of it?
He was the director of Repo Men, which I liked, but I had no clue it was him.
Yeah.
Solid movie, but you see him with the show and as a television director, like Hard Home and this, he's something special for TV. He deserves his own show.
Yes.
He's been 2 episodes. Well, he did the one before Hard Home, actually, I believe, that they said he did the 2 last year, the one before Hard Home, and then these last 2 this year. Off of that alone, he deserves to be co-running a show. Because to me, he is that impressive. Because, like, we predicted a whole lot about what happened in this episode. It didn't fucking matter because it was so well done.
Yeah, did not matter.
It didn't fucking matter.
Also, I like how we've referred to the title a lot, Battle of the Bastards. I was just thinking about this, too. I didn't think about it until you mentioned Hard Home again. But so many times The episode title just buries the lead a little bit, or makes like you almost feel like it's just a little wry joke after you watch the episode. You get where they're coming from in the title. No, they just straight up told you what the fuck was going to happen in this one.
It was amazing. It was such a great fucking title.
Oh, I know.
That title, you just see it on paper, you want to go get in a bar fight. It's that fucking good. Here's my question to you, Ron.
Okay.
We had all of this emotional payoff and amazingness. They extended their finale. So what the fuck's going to happen next week? They already sort of... I mean, are they going to jump...
You think they're going to jump back to the Iron Islands?
I was just about to say, do you think they'll jump back to poor douchebag uncle getting obliterated? Dude, that'd be fucking satisfying too.
It would be.
But yeah, I have no idea. They're
running out of time, so they could spend the first half of the episode.
I'm going to say I do think the very last thing we see is Khaleesi on a ship.
Yeah.
Finally, them all going to Westeros. And I wouldn't be surprised if next week we actually have Snow Jon officially be a Stark. Because now they can sort of kind of... Like, technically, who is the Warden of the North? Like, Rickon's dead. They don't know Bran is still alive.
Yeah.
Technically, it passes down to Sansa.
Basically, yeah.
So, at that point, who's to stop her from just making Jon a Stark, you know?
Right.
So, my predictions are, I think Jon is officially a Stark, and I think the last thing we see is Khaleesi heading to Westeros. You have any predictions for next week?
No, I honestly don't know where to go with it.
We have to go back with Bran, so we're going to be getting more Bran stuff.
That's what makes me wonder if that's what the extension's for, because we haven't seen any of the White Walkers since then. So I don't know if we're going to get some White Walkers. I don't know if we're going back to the Iron Islands. Something is happening, though. It's not just Fallout like it normally is, or they wouldn't extend the episode.
Also, too, they have the Hardhome guy. So I would not be surprised if maybe the last thing we see is not Khaleesi coming over, but it is the White Walkers obliterating the Night's Watch. Because Sam is gone, Gilly is gone, and Snow is gone.
They've already hung anyone else of note.
It would suck to see Ed die, but other than that, everyone's expendable.
Yeah.
So that could be something we see. I just cannot fucking wait. Although the amount of emotional payoff after so many seasons of wanting to see Ramsay get it, and they still went above and beyond making it satisfying. Fucking spectacular job. Yeah. Everyone on board. Cannot fucking wait to see next week. If anything else you want to add with this week's episode, Ron?
No, I think that about does it.
We're going to watch the episode like now. All other plans are off. We're going to watch this fucking episode again. But yes, if you would like to check us out more, please like and subscribe. That gets you all of our content. All of our Let's Plays, commentaries, podcast reaction shows all go through our YouTube channel. We also have Facebook and Twitter links in the description below. And most importantly, if you happen to know anyone else that might also like our content, we would greatly appreciate the share. For this night and all the nights to come, I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron, and now this watch is ended.